What's up, y'all? Mr. Avery here. I just want to tell y'all about this book I've been reading called Warcross by Marie Lu. Now, actually, I did finish this one, and I'm on the next one. I forget what it's called. I think it's called Wild Card. The second one's called Wild Card. This one is the first one. It's very, very good book. It's an action book, adventure, kind of sci-fi because it's futuristic. There's a lot of things that go on in the book. Warcross is about Emika Chin. She is a teenage bounty hunter and a hacker. She's already dope. Basically what happens is there's a game called Warcross that the entire world plays. In this book, they have these glasses that link you to an online world, and everybody gets into that online world, and you can do a bunch of things in that world. It's kind of like Ready Player One. You can change the way you look. You can change your skin color. You could be you're a character from a TV show that you like or whatever. It's pretty cool. What everybody does is they go and they play Warcross, which is a super fun. Well, I guess I've never played it, but it's fun to read, and it's super action packed. So the basis of the game is that both teams have an artifact, and I think they're teams of 5 or 6. Both teams have an artifact, and they have to. So you basically have to retrieve the other team's artifact without losing your artifact. Emika Chin basically wants to go. She just wants to watch a game. I think they're starting the season. It's the opening game, and she wants to watch it. But she's a hacker, so she's like, I'm not about to pay for it. I'm just gonna watch it, and she hacks in and she watches it. Now, normally, the players can only see the players in the field, and they just play the game, and they don't see the audience. And then the audience can see the game, and they see the players, but they don't see each other. However, with Emika, she ends up getting glitched or something, and everybody is able to see her in the game, and nobody's supposed to be able to see her. They see her, she's like, what the heck, and she goes straight to sleep. She unplugs and goes to sleep, and she's like, nope, not dealing with that. Next day, she's all over the news. There's people outside her house. The news are outside her house. The police are outside her house. So much stuff going on, and her roommate comes in and is like, what did you do? And next thing you know, her phone rings, and it is the guy who invented the glasses that puts everybody online. He wants to call her, and she's like, he's definitely about to yell at me because I hacked it, because I hacked his glasses. I'm not answering that call. His name is Hideo Tanaka. She's in love with him, and so she's like, yeah, he's gonna yell at me because I hacked in his thing. I'm not answering that. Well, eventually she does answer. She does talk to him, and that is what sparks the entire story. So that's literally the first couple pages. A lot happens, but it's the first couple pages. So I won't tell you any more than that. Go read it. Very great book. I love it. Please enjoy. Stay safe. Stay inside.
Hello guys, my name is Chase, and today I will be talking about the book The Outsiders and why you should read it. The reason why I chose this book was because I remember it from middle school. When I was in middle school, we read this book, and it really stuck out to me, and I really liked it. It showed me a lot of values and such like that. Basically, the book is based in the time period of the 50s, so you can see kind of what that's like a little bit. Also, the characters are very relatable. It's about family, friendship, losses, hopes. It shows you how to persevere through family and social pressures. You know, how sometimes when we're with our friends, we can feel a little pressured to act a certain way, or feel pressured to act a certain way in front of our family. Another important message is that it shows you how true friendship is really golden, and I think it's really important in today's society to have that, to have a friendship that is just like gold, you know. Also, it gives you the values of showing you how forgiveness is always in reach if you can just find it in your heart. No matter where you're from, no matter who you are, you just gotta dig deep down and really find it. And yeah, I'm gonna also give you a quote from the book that I really like. The main character, Ponyboy, was talking to this other character named Cherry Valance, and Ponyboy asked, "Can you see the sunset on the other side?" And she says, "Yeah, I can see it real nice." And he says, "Well, we can see it real nice too." And basically what that means is no matter where you're from, no matter who you are, no matter, you know, we're all the same. We all have that human raw emotion, that nature, you know? So you can always just look at a book, look at a sunset and just appreciate it, and just know you're not alone because other people are also looking at that sunset. And yeah, those are the reasons why I chose that book, and you should read it too.
Hello, this is Aaron, and what I am currently reading is a collection of short stories titled Sword and Sorcerers 18. It's created or edited by Marion Zimmer Bradley, who is a famous fantasy author in her own right. She doesn't write any of the stories in this books. It's a collection of short stories chosen by her from newer writers. As the title suggests, Sword and Sorceress, these are all fantasy novels, sometimes set in imaginary settings, sometimes set in more historical settings. We have ones from magical kingdoms to ones set in ancient Egypt, and everywhere in between. These stories, all of them have girls or women as the main character, or girls or women who deal with sorcerers or magic in some way. But this one particular short story that I found interesting is called "In the Sacred Places of the Earth." In the Sacred Places of the Earth. It's by Dorothy J. Haydett. So the premise of this one is essentially there's this girl, Cynthia, who is trying to bring her husband back to life. Essentially, this girl, Cynthia, she arrives at this Greek island, and she's met by two goddesses. She's met by a goddess called Arete, or Virtue, who she's met before. So that's one of the things that's interesting about short stories, is that you can put yourself in the middle of the action. You don't have to have a beginning, a middle, and the end, really. You don't have to have it. At the intro, you can just go, that's what's happening right here. As Arete says, "Hey, what's up?" She says, "Hi." She says, "Well, there's underworld. There's an entrance to the underworld. To the underworld here. You can go. You can find it. Okay, you're good." She's also met by the Greek goddess of the harvest called Demeter. And Demeter says, "Well, there's this guy who's trying to mess with my temple. He's trying to one of my ceremonies at one of my temples. He's going to take it. He's going to go to the temple and he's going to bust the whole thing up. He's going to create a disturbance. So I want you to stop him. And if you don't stop him, you're not getting to the underworld. I'm going to make sure you can't go and save your husband. Because what Cynthia's trying to do is to save her husband, who died. Actually, apparently, died some 15 years ago. So she's been at this a while, which will come up later. So she says, okay, so Demeter's basically blackmailing me, saying, you do this for me, or you don't even get to try to go down to the underworld. So Cynthia finds the guy. She stops her. She stops the guy. And Demeter says, "All right, good job. Go ahead. Go down into the underworld." So she goes down. Cynthia goes down into the underworld, and she finds Kore, who is sort of Hades' wife, a goddess of death. And Cynthia says, "I want to make you a trade. What I'll do is I will give you a new name." Now, this is a really interesting part, right? Because that seems really strange. It isn't just a story about a gal going down and saving her husband, leaving. And then we got something added in, and just going to give her a name. What does that mean? So this is explained. It's explained that what Cynthia's actually done is she spent the last 15 years going all around Greece, going into different underworlds, trying to find her husband. Because her husband is in one of these underworlds. He's dead somewhere, but she isn't aware. In the past, when you have a Greek mythology or a bunch of gods and goddesses that are dispersed like that, they're out throughout the land, and they have different names, and they've evolved, the religion has changed, for example. And this isn't like it's one country, Greece. It's a bunch of little city-states. It's a bunch of small countries all stuck together. They speak slightly different languages, they're slightly different people. You'll have gods in one area who are named something, but you go to a different area and it's obviously the same god, same picture, same story, but different name. And there's sometimes, dozens and dozens of names for the same god. Cynthia has gone around Greece and she's figured out these names. So these gods like getting new names because it's a suggestion that they're, changing, or they're linking, or they're expanding. So anyway, Kore says, all right, it's a deal. Give me a new name. So Cynthia gives her a new name. Basically tells her a name that she's called somewhere else in Greece. Kore says, that's enough. I've gotten something for this. And you can go. So Cynthia goes, and she starts climbing the steps, and there's somebody following behind her. She goes up, gets into the sunlight, turns around, there's nobody behind her. At this point, Arete and Demeter come in and they say, well, actually, it appears that your husband wasn't in that underworld. He's somewhere else. Arete says, hey, I've heard of this other underworld, in this different island that you haven't been to yet. So Cynthia just packs up her things. She says, all right, I'm going to keep going. She's very determined. She's doing this for many years. She says, okay, I'll go to the other island. I'll go to the next underworld, and I'll find that. I'll work at that. I'll go when I'm into that underworld. I'll talk to the goddess. I'll give him a new name, and I'll come up, and maybe my husband isn't that way. Maybe I can save him that way. And then she goes off. And that's it. That's the whole story. So I really like reading short story collections like this because they aren't found that often, and there's a lot of things unique about short stories that you can't find, or that you don't find really, in modern books. And they're really good to read because you can just sit down and spend 10 minutes reading a story if you want to, or you can read the whole thing in one go, and there's a central theme to everything. But it's something you can just you can have around the house, you can read when you're a little bored, you can read a book before you're going to sleep, read a story or a tale. And they're really easy to digest and just read on, the off time. Other stories in here are linked to ancient Egypt. There's another story in here linked to China. There's another story in here that's set in modern times, but there's a Native American ghost in it. It's just, there's so many things you can talk about and so many things you can read about. And a lot of times if you're not really sure what you want to read or not really sure what you're into, getting into these short stories or reading a book or two or a collection or two of these short stories is a great way to start.